Was this the best generation of golf? This era of golf and these legendary golfers are so iconic that we still revere them to this day. We still hang on to every word of Jack Nicklaus, Gary Player and Tom Watson decades after their prime because of their successes during this era. And the other guys aren't forgotten either. Guys like Lee Trevino have an immortal legacy in the game. And that got me thinking, how many of the current crop of players will stand the test of time? Not the previous era with Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson, but the guys in their prime now. In 50 years, which names will we remember, and which ones will be lost to history? Now I think I've narrowed it down to 5 names. Let me explain. Right now, in this moment, I think Rory McIlroy is the defining player of this generation. He might not be the best player, but he is by far the most important. Firstly, 6 major championships puts you in a whole different category of player. If I went through the list of every player who's won at least 6 major championships, you would know every single one. Pair that with McIlroy being one of only 3 men to win the Masters back-to-back and being one of only 6 to have won the career Grand Slam, and McIlroy's place in history will be set, obviously. You simply cannot tell the story of golf without mentioning Rory McIlroy's name. And he has a Jack Nicklaus sort of legacy to him. The same way Jack went to war for the PGA Tour alongside Arnold Palmer, Rory went to war for the PGA Tour against Live Golf. When everyone else floundered, McIlroy stood up as a human shield for the PGA Tour and saved it. No one should ever forget that. So when you add all those things up, Rory McIlroy is the defining player of this generation and the first name that will come up in 50 years' time. And obviously, no matter what he does from here on out, Scottie Scheffler will also stand the test of time. He's won 4 major championships, which isn't enough on its own to be remembered for. It'll be interesting to see how Ernie Els stands the test of time, for example. What Scottie has achieved over the last 2 seasons has cemented his place. Winning 15 times between 2024 and 2025, including 9 wins in 2024 and 2 majors the following year, was the most dominant stretch of golf since prime Tiger Woods. That run alone made Scottie Scheffler immortal. And that's without projecting. I think all of us would be gobsmacked if Scheffler finished with 4 majors, and I think we'd be surprised if he finished with 6. Scottie has to be eyeing double-digit major championships, having already locked in 4 before the age of 30. And if he wins a US Open on the way, then he joins McIlroy in the list of career Grand Slam winners. Scottie isn't fighting to be remembered, but he's in a battle with Rory to become the defining player of the generation. Okay, now we're getting into the territory where it's not so much about the accomplishments, but more about impact on the game. Love him or hate him, there are very few people who have impacted golf more than Bryson DeChambeau. Golf's boom in the early 2020s can basically be attributed to Bryson. His shift to content creation, for better or for worse, has changed the game forever. Now golf isn't just a sport now, it's an entertainment industry. YouTube golf has become a true rival to the PGA Tour and professional golf, and Bryson was the first pro to really take the plunge into that market. Now his on-course achievements don't really match up to this star power. A lot of players have won 2 majors, Collin Morikawa being one of them. But while Morikawa is a star, Bryson might be the biggest name in the sport among the casual audience. He and Rory McIlroy were the leading factors for ushering in the next generation of golf fans, and no matter how you feel about that, Bryson's footprint is undeniable. And he's changed the game on the course too. Bryson's bomb and gouge technique won him 2 major championships, and now the rest of golfers followed suit, chasing ridiculous distances just to try and keep up. Now if you can't hit the ball over 300 yards consistently, you just can't keep up on the PGA Tour. Because of his sheer impact on the game, in 50 years' time, Bryson should still be remembered. Now all he has to do is pick his form out the gutter. It gets a bit harder now. It's well up for debate as to whether Brooks Koepka has done enough to be remembered, but I think his major tally gets him there. Brooks Koepka has won 5 major championships, 1 less than Rory, but more than Scottie Scheffler and Raymond Floyd, as many as Seve Ballesteros. 5 is a massive accomplishment, and it puts him in the top 16 in all-time major wins. He's in there with Byron Nelson, who is clearly still remembered, but also Peter Thompson, who a lot of golf fans recognise, but he's hardly a household name. History remembers major winners, who won the biggest events in the biggest moments, and there's no better example of a big game player than Brooks Koepka. In his prime, you knew he'd be in there with a chance to win one of the 4 majors. But from there, it gets a little bit more blurry with Brooks. First, I think it's important which majors you win. And while US Opens in particular are a great major to have, winning 5 without a Masters or an Open Championship does kind of lessen the impact of the 5 majors. When you think of the great major champions, you picture them with the green jacket or lifting the claret jug. Those moments at those tournaments are what stick in the mind, and Brooks has neither of those in his locker. Seve is the opposite of Brooks in that sense, with only green jackets and claret jugs, and how much more iconic do his majors feel than Brooks. Decades later, we can still name the places Seve won. Will that be the case with Brooks and Shinnecock? Maybe, maybe not. Seve also has the Ryder Cup moments that add to his legacy, and while Brooks has had success in that event, he's not synonymous with it like some of the other legends, the Europeans in particular. And of course, he doesn't have the same PGA Tour success as the other names on the major wins list. 9 PGA Tour wins just doesn't resonate. So for Brooks, it's a strong maybe. Another major makes him a definitely. And after umming and ahhing and mulling this one over, I think I've landed on Jordan Spieth being remembered in 50 years' time. His impact over such a short span, I think, will stand the test of time. Spieth's run was magic. He arrived on the scene and just took over with electricity like we've never seen before. There truly never has been anything like the Jordan Spieth experience. The problem is that brought him only 3 major championships, and he hasn't had the impact on the game as Bryson, Rory or Scottie. He turned up, won, became everyone's favourite, then just sort of faded away. So what does he have working for him? Firstly, the records. When he won for the first time on the tour, Spieth became the 4th youngest winner in PGA Tour history. That just shows how good he was so quickly. He was the youngest player to lead the Masters after 1 round, he tied Tiger Woods' lowest score of 18 under, he was the 2nd youngest Masters winner. Spieth was only the 6th player ever to win the Masters and the US Open in the same year, and the first since Tiger Woods in 2002. The other 4 golfers to accomplish this feat are Hall of Fame members Craig Wood, Ben Hogan, Arnold Palmer and Jack Nicklaus. He became the 4th youngest player to win multiple major championships and the youngest winner of the US Open since Bobby Jones in 1923. Those records matter, and they'll be remembered. Then, when he won the Open in 2017, Spieth became just the 2nd player in history, after Jack Nicklaus, to win 3 of the 4 majors before his 24th birthday. He looked destined to become an all-time great, but then, the fall. He's not been the same player since, and that has taken away from the chance of him being alongside the pantheon of golfing greats. If he wins the PGA Championship and completes the career Grand Slam, then obviously he'll be immortalised. But that's just not going to happen. Honestly, it's unlikely he'll win again. So judging by his resume right now, his early success might be enough to etch his name in the history books. But for me, that's about it. Those are the only 5 names I think we'll be talking about in 50 years' time. We don't really have any more names. Jon Rahm was threatening to get in there, winning 2 majors and looking like he'd win many more, but his move to LIV Golf stalled all that progress. Xander Schauffele had a run, so did Colin Morikawa, so has Wyndham Clark weirdly, but none of those guys have won enough or had enough of an impact on the game to stand the test of time. Bryson's the only one in that group of 2-time major winners to do so, because of his content creation. In the current game, we have 2 legendary names, 1 man who made a massive impact, 1 guy who just won a lot of majors, and 1 guy who exploded onto the scene in a way we've never really seen before. And those are the only 5 who we'll remember like these men. Do you think anybody else will be remembered in golfing history? Would you take anybody off this list? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and check out the other videos on the channel. I'll see you in the next one.